I was homeless. Not for a day or a week, for almost 2 years. Lost my job. Rent piled up. Friends stopped picking up the phone. I slept outside a closed shop in the market. Same spot every night. Most people ignored me. Some tossed coins. A few threw words. But one day, I saw a man selling tea from a small cart. He looked tired but calm, busy, focused. I watched him for days. Then I asked him, "Bro, how did you start?" He smiled. "Saved 5,000 rupees. Bought the cart secondhand. I started selling tea." That night, I made a promise to myself. I begged less, saved more. Every rupee mattered. A local welder agreed to build me a tiny cart for half the price if I helped him sweep his shop. After 5 months, I bought that cart. I started selling lemon soda, just one flavor, but I smiled at everyone. People noticed. Some days were hard. Rain ruined my ingredients. Cops moved me, but I stayed. Now, I sell 4 drinks, have a small stall, and 2 young guys working with me. I still sleep in a tiny room, still count every rupee. But now I count dreams too, because I may have started on the pavement, but I'm not stuck there anymore.
Back when I was in law school, I was broke. Like boil one egg for 2 days kind of broke. My scholarship covered tuition, but living in the city, that was another beast. There was a small restaurant near campus. No name, just a tuck shop painted in fading red. The owner, a man in his late 30s, always had a warm smile and a towel on his shoulder. Everyone called him Bhai, means brother. One evening, I walked in and asked awkwardly, "Can I get half a plate of dal chawal, rice and pulses, but no oil?" It was cheaper without it. He looked at me, really looked. "You're a student?" I nodded. He gave me a full plate, with oil, papad too. I started to protest, and he said, "Pay when you can, but promise me, eat properly." That wasn't the only time. He fed me quietly for months. Sometimes he'd slip in an extra roti. When I tried to pay even a little, he'd laugh, "Just be successful, man. I will get back with an interest." I graduated, got my license, first client, first case, then another. Eventually I made it. The first thing I did when I got my first big win, I walked into his restaurant, now faded, old, and handed him a file. He looked confused. "What's this?" "Papers," I said, "to register this place officially in your name. Also, we're doing a small renovation. My treat." He stared at me, silent. I added, "And if anyone messes with your permit, just call your lawyer." He laughed, then cried, then hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. Now every Sunday I eat lunch at his place. No case, no office, just rice. He still won't let me pay. But now when people ask, I don't say restaurant guy, I say meet my elder brother. He fed me when the world forgot I existed. Think AI's got all the answers? Might want to think again. 20 days ago, my throat felt scratchy. First, I tried warm water, honey, and some herbs we call Joshanda. It helped a bit, but then came the fever. I had so many tasks. Desperate, I Googled best antibiotic for throat infection. AI recommended a strong, fast-acting, and safe antibiotic. I ordered it online, took it, and boom, throat felt better by day 2. By day 4, I was back to my routine. Victory, right? Wrong. I started feeling bloated, couldn't digest food, and my sleep was a mess. My sister noticed and asked if I was okay, told her everything, and her husband, who knows meds, suggested probiotics. They helped a bit, but I was still off. Finally, I saw a doctor. She told me I took a dose for someone twice my weight and without stomach protection. AI gave me info, not wisdom, speed, not safety. Now I'm recovering, but my gut still isn't the same. Moral of the story? Always consult a real doctor.
I used to think the dinosaurs just faded away, like they got old and disappeared. But then I read this one theory, and it still blows my mind. 66 million years ago, a rock the size of a mountain slammed into Earth. At 45,000 miles per hour, it hit what's now Mexico, and in seconds, oceans boiled, forests burned, and a fireball engulfed the skies. Sunlight blocked, temperatures dropped like crazy. Plants died, herbivores died, predators starved. In just weeks, 75% of life on Earth was gone. But here's the twist. Not everything died. Tiny mammals, hiding, surviving. They made it. One of them, our ancestor. So yeah, the dinosaur's end was our beginning. A total stranger I met in an airport gave me 5 travel tips that saved me over $1,000. I met James Fitzpatrick during a 15-hour layover in Istanbul. Mid-30s, solo traveler, dressed like he'd stepped out of an REI catalog. We started talking over burnt airport coffee, and he casually mentioned he'd been traveling nonstop for 4 years. Naturally, I asked, "How the hell do you afford that?" He grinned, pulled out his notebook, and said, 5 hacks. That's it. Changed everything. Here's what he told me. And yeah, I've used them since, and they actually work. Number 1 trick is, book flights on a Tuesday at 2 p.m., but set your location to another country. James swears by using a VPN set to Mexico or India when booking flights. I tried it for a trip from NYC to Berlin, $150 cheaper instantly. No joke. Number 2 trick is, never pay for water at airports. He carries a collapsible water bottle and always finds refill stations near bathrooms or lounges. I've saved more than I care to admit on $6 water bottles. Number 3 trick is, use hidden city ticketing, skip lagging. Booked a flight to LA with a layover in Vegas, but just got off in Vegas, which was my real destination. Illegal? No. Risky? A little. Effective? Oh yeah. Number 4 trick is, join flight deals groups. He saved $1,200 this way. He showed me a Telegram group called Secret Flying. I've flown round trip from Chicago to Rome for $320 because of that group. Unreal. Number 5 trick is, travel light equals travel free. James carries a 28L backpack. That's it. No checked bags, no waiting, no extra fees. He even cut off the handle of his toothbrush to save space. Sociopath or genius? Maybe both. We parted ways after a few hours, but I still keep his list on my phone. I haven't seen James Fitzpatrick since, but every time I walk past the check-in counter with 0 baggage fees and a smug smile, I think of him. Whoever he was, the man was a legend.
Zainab, who did not see divorce as defeat but as freedom. Zainab had been married for only 2 years, but it felt like she had been imprisoned for 2 centuries. At first, everything was fine. Her husband, Faraz, was cheerful, decent, and the apple of the family's eye. But 2 months into the marriage, when the doors began to close, his true nature started to reveal itself. Taunts over trivial matters, slaps, shoves. And when Zainab tried to raise her voice, her mother-in-law said, "This is the nature of men. You must learn to endure." When she told her parents, they said, "Daughter, do not bring family matters outside. Every girl faces difficulties at first. Everything will be fine." But everything was not fine. Every day, Zainab's body was bruised and her heart shattered. She smiled in front of everyone, and at night she quietly cried. She endured, only because of the thought, "What will people say?" Then one day her little daughter Miriam, who was only 4 years old, stood behind the door watching, as Faraz pushed Zainab hard against the wall. Zainab saw something in her daughter's eyes, fear. No, not just fear, a question. Is this normal? Will mama always cry like this? In that moment, Zainab did not break, she awakened. That night, she packed her clothes and reached her parents' house. And the next morning, she prepared the divorce papers. Her mother cried, the neighborhood remained silent, and people whispered in hushed tones. Shameless, stubborn, today's girls have become headstrong. But Zainab ignored them all. For the first time, she was winning not for her daughter, but for herself. A few months later, she took a legal course and started taking small cases. Today, she is a lawyer, fighting for women who are going through the same oppression she endured. And every time she raises her voice for a woman in court, she repeats one thing in her heart. My daughter will never think that her mother learned to endure oppression. She will see that her mother learned to speak up. This story is not just about Zainab, it is about every woman who once remained silent, but one day stood up for herself.
वो सब कहते थे, लड़की को पढ़ाकर क्या करना? आखिर में तो शादी करके चली जाएगी। लेकिन मेरी माँ ने किसी की ना सुनी। मैं एक छोटे गांव में पली बढ़ी, जहां ख्वाब चमचों में नापे जाते थे और लड़कियों को बस चाय बनाने के काबिल समझा जाता था, ख्वाब देखने के नहीं। जब मैंने 10वीं जमात में टॉप किया तो मेरे चचाओं ने तंज किया, बहुत होशियार बन रही है, कल को नाक कटवा देगी। एक दिन मेरी फूफी ने मेरे हाथ से किताबें छीन ले और कहा, ये सब छोड़ो, रोटी बनाना सीखो, यही तुम्हारा असल इम्तिहान है। इस रात में रोकर सो गई, सोचा सब कुछ खत्म हो गया। तब मेरी माँ चपके से मेरे पास आए, मेरे हाथ में किताबें वापस रखें और अपनी चोड़ियां भी। ब्रेक, कहा, बीच देना, फीस भरनी है। उस दिन मैंने माँ की आंखों में ना डर दिखा ना गुस्सा, बस एक जुनून अपनी बेटी को उड़ता हुआ देखने का। वो दिन भर दूसरों के घरों में काम करती थी, रात को वो मेरे लिए रोटियां बनाते, खुद कभी भूखी रह जाती, लेकिन मुझे हमेशा कहते पेट भर के खाना, पढ़ाई करनी है। जब मैं इंजीनियरिंग कॉलेज में दाखिल हुई तो कोई रिश्तेदार अलविदा कहने नहीं आया, बस वो मेरी माँ मेरे साथ खड़ी थी। फिर पहला जॉब मिला, अपार्टमेंट लिया और फिर अपनी कंपनी खोली। आज मैं 200 से ज्यादा लोगों को रोजगार देती हूँ, जिनमें वही चचा का बेटा भी शामिल है जो कभी कहते थे ये लड़की हमेशा बोझ ही बनेगी। पिछले माह मैं माँ को यूरोप ले गई, उनकी पहली फ्लाइट, पहला सफर। जब हम एफिल टावर पर पहुंचे वो रोने लगे। मैंने पूछा, क्या मंजर बहुत खूबसूरत है? उन्होंने कहा, नहीं, मुझे वो दिन याद आ रहा है जब मैंने अपनी चोड़ियां बीची थी, आज वो ख्वाब पूरा हुआ है। मैंने उनका हाथ थामा और कहा, आपने सिर्फ बेटी नहीं पाली, एक विरासत बना दी है।
It started on the anniversary of her death. I was lying in bed, scrolling through old photos of her, my mom, smiling in the kitchen, flour on her cheeks, always singing. She died suddenly, heart failure. No warning, no goodbye. At exactly 11:03 p.m., my phone buzzed. One new message. Good night, Beta. Dream sweet. Red heart, I froze. That was her exact phrase, word for word. I used to get that message every night in college. I checked the contact. It was her number, the one we disconnected after she passed. I told myself it was a glitch, maybe some scammer spoofing the number. But the next night it came again. Missed you today. Hope you're eating. Every night after that, 11:03 p.m. sharp, I'd get something new, something personal. Inside jokes, my childhood nickname, a photo of the stars we watched on our rooftop. I tried replying. No response. Just more messages. Finally, after weeks, I broke down and typed, "Who are you?" This time a reply came. "I'm wherever you need me to be. Just don't forget me." And then nothing. The messages stopped. But sometimes, when I'm feeling really lost, I set an alarm for 11:03, and I just wait.
I was always the fun guy in the group, the one who kept things light, cracked jokes, and paid for coffees when someone forgot their wallet. I thought I had a solid circle of friends. Then my dad died. It wasn't sudden, it was cancer, but the end hit like a brick. The funeral was quiet. I didn't expect everyone to come, but I guess I expected someone. No one from my group showed up, not even a text that morning, but Liam did. Liam wasn't part of my inner circle. He was more of a classmate turned acquaintance. We'd worked on a project once and occasionally talked about music. That was it. Yet on the morning of the funeral, he was standing outside the church, wearing a black shirt, holding a small bouquet, looking awkward as hell. I asked, "Why'd you come?" He said, "You want to stay back with me for 2 hours to help finish our project, even though your friends left." Just felt like the right thing to do. That day, as I stood next to my dad's casket, I realized something that stayed with me ever since. A real friend isn't always the one who laughs loudest beside you. It's the one who stands quietly with you when everyone else disappears.
When I was 7, I waited all day for my dad to come home. It was my birthday. Balloons, cake, presents, all arranged because of him. But by 9 p.m., he still wasn't there. Mom finally sat me down and said, Sweetheart, he's trying. He's working 2 jobs. He couldn't get away. I nodded, pretended to understand. But that night, I cried myself to sleep, still wearing my little party hat. The next year, Dad planned ahead. He booked the day off weeks in advance, picked me up from school, took me to the park, brought cake, balloons, a goofy crown he made himself. He didn't miss a minute. Now I'm older. And I finally get it. He didn't miss my birthday because he didn't care. He missed it because he cared too much to risk our future. That's the kind of love kids don't always understand. Until they grow up.
I am Bob, 28 years old, and this is my story. I was hired as a marketing coordinator. But instead of emails and branding, I was picking up his dry cleaning, driving his wife to her nail appointments, cleaning dog poop off his patio. Once, I missed a client call because I was carrying his wife's shopping bags at the mall. He even had me leave work to unlock his house because his wife forgot her keys. All while still expecting me to hit deadlines and lead campaigns. One day, he asked me to pick up salmon for his wife during a presentation I was giving. That night, I wrote one sentence. Next morning, I handed it to him. You hired a marketer, not a slave. Then I walked. No backup job. No regrets. Some jobs pay in money. Others cost you your self-respect.
In school, nobody noticed me. No party invites. No lunch tables. No one even saved me a seat. I was just there, quiet, average, forgettable. At first, it hurt. Then it fueled me. I stopped trying to fit into places that didn't want me. Instead, I started building. Small wins, learning guitar. Reading, hitting the gym, teaching myself coding at midnight. Fast forward 2 years, I wasn't invisible anymore. I didn't have to scream for attention. My success spoke for me. Little steps, tiny victories. And the best part, I didn't glow up to make them notice. I glowed up so I could finally see myself.
It started in the school restroom during lunch. 3 girls from my class were huddled by the mirror, reapplying layers of lip gloss, mascara, and foundation. I walked in, barely wearing tinted sunscreen. One of them glanced at me and snorted. Here comes Daddy's doll. No lashes, no liner, probably still needs permission to wear deodorant. They laughed. Loud enough for it to hurt. Another one said, bet she's not even allowed to post selfies without approval. I didn't say anything. Just washed my hands and pretended I didn't hear. But their words followed me back to class like shadows. Later that day, I looked in the mirror at home and wondered, why am I different? Why does my dad still treat me like I'm 10? Why can't I wear eyeliner like the others? Why do I feel like I'm behind? My dad is soft, protective, old-fashioned, maybe. He makes sure I eat. He texts me to drink water. He asks where I'm going and who I'm with. And he's always told me the same thing about makeup, you don't need it. Not yet. It's not about beauty, it's about pressure. And your skin? It's still growing. I never knew what he meant. Until I looked it up myself. Turns out, he was right. Wearing heavy makeup daily can cause breakouts, clogged pores, early aging signs especially for young skin that's still developing. Some cause irritation over time and can strip skin's natural barrier. My dad wasn't trying to shame beauty. He was trying to protect mine. Still, the teasing hurt. So I told my mom. She said something I'll never forget, you're not behind. You're just protected. Those girls wear it to feel seen. Some wear it because no one's telling them not to. Don't confuse freedom with neglect. Some kids grow up faster because they're raising themselves. She told me how her classmates, the ones who used to mock others, regretted it later. You're not too innocent, she said. You're just lucky to still be. Now, when someone calls me daddy's girl, I don't shrink. I smile and say, yeah. He protects me. And I'm proud of that.
She walked into one of the city's most luxurious restaurants,
dressed head to toe in designer labels, expecting a man who matched her style. Then she saw him, wearing an apron, serving a table, smiling. No way, that's him? I thought he was a big shot as he invited me here. Now I understand the whole story, she muttered, rolling her eyes. He walked over politely. Hey, sorry, I'm filling in tonight. 2 waiters called off. She smirked. So, you're a waiter? Well, not exactly, he began. Yeah, no. See, I usually date men with real jobs. CEOs. Founders. Not guys who live off tips. He stayed calm. She kept going, tossing little jabs like it was sport. You should have mentioned your status, she said. Then, right on cue, the manager walked over holding a folder. Excuse me, sir. I need your signature on this week's payroll sheets. Her jaw dropped. Of course, he replied, signing. The manager nodded. Thank you, Mr. Carter. He looked back at her and smiled. Not smug, just peaceful. By the way, I own this place. You judged me wrong, but my observation about you is not wrong. I cannot hang out with a person who judges other by looking at their appearances. Anyways, whatever you order tonight. It's on the house, but fortunately, I would not join you. He stood up. Enjoy your dinner. And just like that, she was left sitting alone, regretting her fast conclusion and showing her dark inner feelings.
I saw her steal a hot dog from a vendor's cart. Middle of the day. She just grabbed it and ran. The vendor shouted, but before he could move, I chased her. I don't know why. Maybe instinct. Maybe judgment. She slipped under this old bridge on the edge of town. And that's when I saw her, with a little girl. Maybe 5. Wrapped in a blanket. Sitting on cardboard. The girl's eyes lit up when she saw the hot dog. She asked, Mommy, is it my turn today? Her mom didn't cry. She just split the hot dog and whispered, eat slow. I couldn't walk away. I went back. Bought 5 more. Left them without a word. And that night, I made a promise. I'd make sure they ate twice a day until she got back on her feet. 2 months later, with my help, she got a job as a salesgirl at a local store. Now they don't just survive. They live.
I always thought I was Lily's dad. She's 9, bright, kind, everything to me. Then she got sick. We did a DNA test to check for a genetic condition. The results? I wasn't her biological father. I was crushed. I left my wife. I thought she cheated. But weeks later, we got a call from the hospital. A nurse told us there was a baby switched 9 years ago. Another test confirmed it. Lily wasn't biologically related to either of us. We met the other family. They had our biological daughter. We had theirs. What do you do when the child you raised isn't yours, but feels like your whole world? We didn't switch them. We chose to blend both families. The girls will grow up knowing the truth, but surrounded by love. Because DNA doesn't make a parent, love does. We were at this rooftop bar. I'd say for weeks. It wasn't just a date. I was also meeting someone special. I had a job offer, and I wanted to surprise her with it. Something real. Something for us. She always had expensive taste. The designer wish list, the influencers, the casual jabs at my potential. But I loved her, so I ignored the signs, convinced myself she saw something in me beyond what I had right now. Then this guy walks in, immaculate suit, luxury watch, that calm, money doesn't need to speak energy. She freezes, stares, leans in and says, honestly, I think I could do better. That's when I knew. She gets up, walks over to him like I vanished, starts flirting, laughing. Then I hear him say, actually, I'm here to meet someone. She looks confused. He glances over at me. I've been following his work, brilliant ideas, especially under pressure. I wanted to hand him this personally. He walks over, hands me the envelope, and says, welcome aboard. 6-figure salary, signing bonus, company car, relocation package, and a future we're excited to build with you. I stood up, shook his hand, looked at her, still frozen, face drained of every plan she had made. I didn't say a word, just smiled, picked up my jacket, and walked away. She loved the dream,
but I became it without her. Max was a golden retriever with a heart of gold. Every day, he'd walk little Emily to the bus. He would cuddle her to sleep each night. Then, on one camping trip, everything changed. A storm hit and tents collapsed. Max chased a deer into the woods. When he returned, the family was gone. He waited for days, then weeks. Tired, hungry, he began wandering, searching. People passed him by, not recognizing him. One night, he found a scarf in the trash. It smelled like lavender, reminding him of Emily. A whole year passed, filled with searching. At a rescue event, Emily saw him. He was dirty, tired, but unmistakable. She knelt down and whispered, "Max?" His ears twitched, his tail wagged in joy. They held each other, tears flowing. Max had finally found his way home.
I'm a teacher. One of my students, a quiet girl named Alina, started sleeping through every class. At first, I thought she was just tired, but it kept happening. She had dark circles under her eyes and looked completely drained. Like she hadn't had a good night's sleep in weeks. I pulled her aside and asked gently, "Is everything okay at home?" She just nodded, eyes down, wouldn't say a word. So I called her parents in. Turns out, they'd been fighting at night. Loud, brutal arguments right outside her bedroom. They thought she was asleep. She wasn't. She heard everything, every scream, every slammed door. That's why she couldn't sleep. That's why she was breaking down in class. The parents were devastated. They promised to change. And you know what? A week later, Alina stayed awake the whole day. The week after that, she smiled. Sometimes that's all it takes, someone noticing.
It all began on a sleepless night when I stumbled across an app called Echoes while scrolling through my phone. The app's description was vague, promising to reveal one's hidden truths, and in my insomniac haze, curiosity got the better of me. I downloaded it, thinking it would be a fleeting distraction. But the moment I opened it, a shiver ran down my spine. The interface was unsettlingly bare, save for a single button labeled Listen. I pressed it, and the first whisper that emerged seemed like a glitch. "You're afraid of what hides in your mind." It felt like an intimate intrusion, yet I was compelled to press on. The whispers grew louder with each notification, revealing fears I never dared to voice. "You fear losing control," it murmured one morning, as if it had peered into my most guarded thoughts. As days passed, the app seemed to know my every move, predicting my anxieties before I even recognized them. I became obsessed, waiting for each new revelation, even as the whispers added to my growing unease. They began to weave a narrative of a darkness within me, something I couldn't quite grasp but felt suffocatingly close. Friends noticed my distraction, but how could I explain that an app was exposing the shadows of my soul? One night, the app's whispers took a sinister turn, no longer just naming fears but urging action. "Face it," it demanded, "confront what you fear most." The words reverberated in my mind, a command I couldn't shake off. I found myself standing before a mirror, the phone in my hand, the whisper now a haunting chant. My reflection seemed to distort, eyes dark with secrets I refused to acknowledge. The fear was enveloping, a force pulling me towards a truth I was desperate to avoid. The app buzzed violently, and I realized the terrifying truth it wanted me to see. I wasn't just afraid of my darkness, I was consumed by it. In the chilling climax, the app's final message appeared, "Welcome to the real you." As the words flashed on the screen, my reflection twisted into a grotesque mimicry of myself, a being forged from my deepest fears. I dropped the phone, the screen shattering, but the whispers didn't stop. They echoed around the room, a cacophony of my darkest thoughts, and I realized with a sinking horror that the app had become a part of me. The whispers were no longer confined to the phone, they were the voice of my own mind, a relentless reminder of the truths I had unearthed and the soul I could no longer escape.
Everyone told her to leave me. I was broke. No job. No future. Just a head full of dreams and empty pockets. Her friends call me a waste of time. Her family said she deserved better. But she stayed. She packed my lunch for interviews I didn't get. She held my hand through rejections, sleepless nights, and self-doubt. I offered her nothing but promises, and she never asked for more. One night, I broke down. Why are you still here? She smiled and said, because I believe in who you're going to be. Fast forward 3 years, I was offered a high-level position at a firm I once begged to intern for. The first person I called? Her. She cried on the phone, and all I could say was, we made it. Because she never left when I had nothing. She's the one I want to give everything to.
This is gonna blow your mind. Imagine being saved by your biggest crush. Let me tell you my story, which led to a love story of mine. I was in 8th grade, quiet, awkward, and a daily target for the school bullies. They called me names and knocked my books down. It hurt. One day, they cornered me behind the gym. I froze, heart racing, ready to just take it. Then I heard a voice. Back off. It was Leah. Popular, smart, athletic, everything I wasn't. I didn't even think she knew my name. But there she was, standing between me and them. One of the guys laughed. You gonna fight us? She didn't flinch. Try it. And I'll make sure every teacher knows what you've been doing. They backed off. Later, I asked why she did it. She smiled, because I used to be you. No one stood up for me, so now I do. That day, I realized true strength isn't in fighting, but in standing for someone. Leah and I became good friends from that day, standing for each other in hard situations.
What I wish I knew at 16 instead of 18, that my passion for football would make teachers underestimate me. I knew I had failed the moment I handed in my paper, not because I didn't know the answers, not because I hadn't studied, but because in my school, being an athlete meant you weren't taken seriously. I was the school's star football player. Our team had just won the state championship, and everyone assumed that was all I cared about. Teachers overlooked me. Classmates whispered about how I'd probably get a free pass just for being on the team. But here's the truth. I studied. Late nights, exhausted after practice. I knew this exam mattered. And when the results came in, I failed. Completely bombed. But something felt off. Heart pounding, I went to my teacher's office. I don't understand, I said. I studied for this. She didn't look up. Maybe if you spent less time on the field, you'd have passed. I asked to see my paper. After enough pushing, she sighed and handed it over. Red marks slashed through correct answers, entire sections ungraded. It was deliberate. You failed me on purpose, I said. She didn't deny it. You need to understand that in the real world, football won't always save you. I took my paper straight to the principal. An investigation was launched. She had been marking down athletes for years. She was fired. My grade was corrected. But the damage was done. Because in that moment, I realized some people will see you as a stereotype no matter how hard you work to prove them wrong.
12-year-old Sophie sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the red stain on her bedsheet. Her heart pounded. She had read about this in school, heard her friends whisper about it, but now that it had happened to her, she felt lost. Her mother had passed away 2 years ago, leaving Sophie and her father alone in their quiet home. The loving father always making sure she had everything she needed, but this was different.
She couldn't talk to him about it. He wouldn't understand.
All day she moved around nervously, avoiding eye contact with her father. She wrapped a jacket around her waist, walked carefully, and made sure not to sit for too long. She hoped he wouldn't notice. But he did.
Sophie, is something bothering you?
No, Dad, I'm fine.
You know, when your mother was here, she always told me that one day you'd need me to step up in ways I never imagined. I may not know everything, but I do know that growing up comes with changes. And some of those changes might be scary or uncomfortable to talk about, like your first period.
Embarrassed.
It's completely natural, sweetheart. Every girl goes through it. Your mother would have been here to help you, but since she's not, I want you to know that you can talk to me about anything.
I don't know what to do.
I asked one of my colleagues at work for advice. She helped me pick these up for you.
You are strong. You are not alone.
Thank you, Dad.
That night, as she lay in bed, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Comfort. She wasn't alone. Her mother might be gone, but her father was there, learning, growing, and standing beside her every step of the way.
On the darkest night, when the wind howled like a pack of wolves outside, a curious mouse named Max scurried through the forest, his whiskers twitching with excitement. Max had heard tales of a magical key hidden somewhere in the woods, but no one had ever found it. Tonight, with the storm raging and branches bending under the fierce wind, Max felt a strange pull guiding him toward the ancient oak tree, its twisted branches reaching out like fingers. As Max approached the towering tree, the sky lit up with a flash of lightning, revealing a soft, golden glow coming from the tree's roots. His tiny heart pounded with anticipation as he scampered closer, peering into a small hollow beneath the massive trunk. There, nestled among the roots and leaves, lay a key unlike any Max had ever seen. It shimmered with the warm, inviting light, casting a gentle glow on his fur. Max's paws trembled as he carefully picked it up, feeling a tingling sensation that ran from his whiskers to his tail. With the key clutched tightly, Max knew he had stumbled upon something truly special. He remembered the whispered stories of an enchanted door hidden deep in the forest, a door that could only be unlocked by the glowing key. Determined and filled with wonder, Max set off on a new adventure, the storm's fury unable to quench the light of discovery burning inside him. The forest seemed to hold its breath as Max started between the trees, the key lighting his path through the darkness. As the night wore on, Max's bravery grew, fueled by the mystery of the glowing key. He felt a sense of purpose he had never known before, as if he was destined to uncover the secrets hidden within the enchanted door. The storm continued to rage, but Max pressed on, his heart a beacon of courage in the heart of the storm. Little did he know, the key was just the beginning, and the adventure that lay ahead would change his life forever.
It started with a text. Don't go to the cafe today. I frowned at the unknown number. Probably a prank. I ignored it and went about my morning. An hour later, another message. I mean it. Stay home. My fingers hesitated over my phone. My routine was always the same. Every Saturday, I grabbed coffee at my favorite cafe and spent hours reading. How did this person know? Curiosity got the best of me. I replied. Who is this? 3 dots appeared. Then. Someone who doesn't want you to get hurt. A chill ran down my spine. My gut told me to listen, but my brain called it nonsense. I grabbed my bag and left anyway. As I turned the corner toward the cafe, my phone buzzed again. Run. Before I could process the message, a loud crash shattered the morning air. The cafe window exploded outward. Smoke and screams filled the street. A car had crashed straight through the front. I stood frozen, my heart hammering. If I had been inside at my usual table. My phone buzzed one last time. You're welcome. I called the number back. Disconnected.
If your voicemail has a message from someone you've lost, get ready for this. I was cleaning out my voicemail when I saw it. One unheard message from my mom. She had passed away 3 months ago. My hands trembled as I pressed play. Hey, sweetheart. Her voice crackled through the speaker. I just wanted to say I love you. No reason, just felt like you needed to hear it today. Silence, then a soft chuckle. Also, don't forget to check under the couch. You always lose things there. I felt a lump in my throat. She always said that. On impulse, I knelt by the couch and reached underneath. My fingers brushed against something, my missing necklace, the one she had given me. My breath hitched. She was gone, but somehow, she still knew. Sometimes love leaves a message that lasts forever.
I never imagined that ordering takeout would expose the biggest betrayal of my life. But that's exactly what happened. It started as an ordinary evening. I had been working late and decided to order dinner from my favorite restaurant. As I waited, my phone buzzed. Your order is on the way, the message read. Little did I know, the delivery wasn't just bringing food, it was about to deliver the most painful truth I'd ever faced. When the delivery boy arrived, I noticed something odd. He hesitated before handing me the bag, looking at me with an expression that made my stomach churn. Then he spoke. Sir, I think you need to know something. His voice was cautious, but his words sent a shockwave through my body. I've been delivering to this address a lot lately, but not my friend. What do you mean? He swallowed hard. Your wife. She's been ordering food while you're at work with another man. The world around me blurred. My pulse pounded in my ears. Another man? Who? Seeing my reaction, the delivery boy hesitated again before dropping the real bombshell. I recognized him. He's your friend. The one with the black car. I've seen them together more than once. I felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. My best friend. My wife. Together. Betrayal had been living right under my nose, and I had been too blind to see it. Rage, heartbreak, confusion, they all crashed into me at once. I thanked the delivery boy, shut the door, and stood there, gripping the takeout bag like it held the answers to my shattered life. I needed proof. My heart screamed for confrontation, but my mind urged patience. That night, I did something I never thought I would. I set a trap. The next day, I left home early, pretending to head to work. But I doubled back and waited, hidden in my car down the street. Hours passed. Then, at noon, my wife stepped outside. A familiar black car pulled up. My best friend. I watched as she smiled, the same smile she used to give me. I knew then that my life would never be the same. Red circle emoji, what happens next? Should he confront them or walk away? Let me know in the comments.
Emma hurried through the rainy streets, her arms full of groceries. As she reached the cafe door, she noticed an elderly man struggling to pick up his fallen cane. Without hesitation, she rushed over, handed him his cane, and offered a warm smile. "Thank you, dear," he said, his eyes twinkling. Moments later, the man entered the cafe and noticed a tired waitress juggling multiple trays. He held the door open for her, lightening her burden. She sighed in relief and thanked him with a grateful nod. Later, that same waitress, moved by the kindness, bought a cup of coffee for a shivering young man outside. The man, warmed both inside and out, saw a lost little girl searching for her mother. He gently took her hand and helped reunite them. That night, as Emma tucked herself into bed, she had no idea that her simple act of kindness had set off a chain reaction, one that spread warmth and compassion far beyond what she could have imagined.
Liam was a young and determined boy. His story will inspire you. Let me tell you his story. Liam's mother had grown frail, her skin pale as winter's first frost. A deep body, leaving her too weak to rise from bed. No herbs or warm broth could ease her fever. Their small home became silent, missing her laughter and the scent of fresh-baked bread. Determined to help, Liam gathered homemade bread and honey, heading to the hidden spot in the dark woods, the fairy's place. As he laid out his goods, tiny golden-winged fairies fluttered around. "Trade with us," they chimed. Liam, with a trembling voice, said, "I need medicine for my mother. She is the kindest person I know." The fairies murmured among themselves. "A heart that loves so deeply should not suffer," said their tiny queen, offering a vial of golden nectar. "A single drop will heal her." With gratitude, Liam ran home, carefully pouring a drop onto his mother's lips. By morning, color returned to her cheeks, and her smile was brighter than any fairy light.
Kathy never imagined that her life would change in a single evening. She was a waitress at the prestigious Grand Baltimore Hotel, juggling double shifts to provide for her 10-year-old son, Jimmy. That evening, she had been asked to cover a housekeeping shift. A last-minute request, but she needed the extra cash. She was on the 12th floor with a muffled groan from room 1207. Something didn't feel right. The room belonged to Mr. Leonard Whitmore, a famous businessman known throughout Baltimore. Kathy knocked. No answer. Her instinct screamed at her. She hesitated for a moment before using the master keycard to push the door open. What she saw made her blood run cold. Leonard Whitmore was sprawled across the floor, clutching his chest, his face contorted in pain. His lips were turning blue. A heart attack. Kathy had no medical training beyond what she had read online, but she knew she had to act fast. Dropping to her knees, she tilted his head back, placed her hands firmly on his chest, and started CPR. "Come on, don't you dare die on me," she muttered, pressing down rhythmically. Minutes felt like hours. Sweat trickled down her forehead. Just as panic began to creep in, Leonard gasped sharply, his chest rising. A choked, ragged breath filled the room. She immediately called the desk and reported the situation. The paramedics arrived moments later. They took over, stabilizing him before wheeling him out. Before leaving, Leonard turned his weak, watery eyes to Kathy. "You saved my life," he whispered. She didn't think much of it. Just another day of doing what had to be done. 2 days later, Kathy was finishing her shift when a sharply dressed man approached her at the bar. "Miss Carter?" he asked, his tone formal. "Yes? Mr. Whitmore requests your presence at his estate." Her heart pounded. Was she in trouble? Was he going to sue her for trespassing into his room? With reluctance, she agreed. That evening, a sleek black car picked her up and drove through the winding roads of Baltimore's wealthiest neighborhood. She felt out of place as she stepped into the grand estate. Leonard sat in a large chair, still looking weak. "You're a remarkable woman, Miss Carter," he said finally. "You saved my life. And I don't believe in ignoring fate." She frowned. "I was just doing what anyone would have done." "No," he said firmly. "Most people wouldn't have cared enough to step in. That kind of loyalty and quick thinking is rare." He leaned forward. "I want to make you an offer. I need someone I can trust in my home. A caretaker. Someone to manage things, help me during my recovery, and be part of my household. I will pay you handsomely, far more than what you make it at the hotel." Kathy's breath hitched. It was too good to be true. I have a son," she said hesitantly. "Jimmy. He comes first." Leonard smiled. "Then bring him with you. 2-bed annex is waiting for you." Tears welled in Kathy's eyes. Years, life was offering her something more.
Sarah, a spirit woman from Chicago, started her journey as a door-to-door seller. She had collected hand-woven shirt pieces. She met with closed doors and cold shoulders. People did not give a single look at her stuff. Every rejection felt like a punch to her dreams. But Sarah had something special: persistence. She didn't give up. She started visiting different boutiques but still could not find positive replies. She also launched a Facebook page showing all the beauty present in her stuff. And then, it happened. One day, a small boutique owner noticed her passion and decided to give her a chance. That single opportunity was the spark she needed. She presented the best pieces to that boutique. Her collection was admired by all the customers. Her tenacity turned her disheartening rejections into a booming success. Sooner, she started getting orders from different boutiques. She hired a number of people to support her business. Then one day, she started her own boutique in a posh area. Sarah's story is like a torch for those who are struggling. Share with those who need a pat. Subscribe for more inspiring stories.
I've always felt like a ghost in my own home. My parents were the life of every party, the center of attention wherever they went. But me? I was just the afterthought, the kid in the background who nobody really noticed. Growing up, I didn't have bedtime stories or family dinners. Instead, I had Nanny Clara. She was kind, don't get me wrong, but she wasn't my mom. She was the one who tucked me in at night, who helped me with my homework, who helped me when I cried. My parents? They were too busy hosting glamorous parties or jetting off to some exotic destination. I remember one night, when I was about 7, I had a nightmare. I woke up screaming, my heart racing, and ran to my parents' room. But when I opened the door, I found them laughing with a group of friends, glasses of champagne in their hands. They didn't even notice me standing there in my pajamas, tears streaming down my face. Nanny Clara found me in the hallway and took me back to bed. As I got older, the parties became more frequent, and my parents became more distant. They'd ask me how school was, but they never really listened to the answer. They'd show up to my school events, but they were always on their phones, texting or scrolling through social media. It was like I was just another item on their to-do list, something to check off before they moved on to the next thing. When I turned 16, I threw myself a birthday party. I invited all my friends, decorated the house, and even baked a cake. But my parents didn't come. They had a work event that night, they said. I sat there, surrounded by my friends, pretending everything was fine. But inside, I felt like I was crumbling. Nanny Claire was the one who comforted me that night. She hugged me and told me I was loved, even if my parents didn't always show it. But it wasn't enough. I wanted my mom and dad to see me, to really see me. Next day I complained to my parents for not attending my party. They casually said sorry. My mother kissed on my forehead and father just pat my back. I also overheard my parents' conversation blaming each other for not paying attention to me. My mother said I did not want any baby in my life and it was your choice, so you're supposed to take care of her. My father's reply shocked me as he denied choosing me. I cried over this conversation. I was an unwanted child. For my parents I was a burden. I focused on my studies as I wanted to show myself to my parents and this world. My parents' negligence empowered me. My intuition forced me to learn everything that could shine my personality. At parties, guests started noticing me. Their praise pushed my parents to look towards me. They started feeling proud of me. Now, at 20, I've learned to live. I know how to make my place in a crowd. My parents, as they are growing old, attention is diverting now. I am becoming a special charm in their lives. I would say we all need to win our space in others' lives by adopting positive turns.
When I was a young boy, I lived in a quaint village surrounded by lush, green fields where I tended my family's sheep. Craving attention from the bustling villagers, I devised a plan. Wolf! Wolf! I shouted with feigned panic one sunny afternoon. The villagers, alarmed, though at first just a harmless thrill, became a frequent game. However, one tragic day, while I was lazily watching my flock, a real wolf emerged from the shadows of the forest. Its eyes blazed with hunger, and it sprang upon the sheep with terrifying speed. My heart pounded and I screamed, "Wolf! Wolf!" Yet, my cries echoed back to me unanswered. No villagers came running. The wolf took what it wanted, leaving me with an empty field and a heart full of regret. This incident shook me to my core. I had learned a bitter lesson about honesty and the consequences of deceit. Determined to change, I moved to the village square and opened a small shop. The shelves were lined with every staple a villager might need: flour, sugar, spices, and the freshest produce from the nearby farms. One day, Mrs. Collins, an elderly woman whose trust one earned through my new honest endeavors, approached me with a request. She wanted to buy sugar, but mistakenly handed me more coins than necessary. I spotted the error instantly. Mrs. Collins, you've given me too much, I said, placing the extra coins back in her weathered hands. Her smile was warm, as if she, too, remembered the boy I used to be. Another time, young Timothy, his eyes wide with curiosity, asked if the apples on display were the sweetest in the village. Though a bit tart, I replied truly, telling him so. Honesty, I discovered, brought satisfaction in a unique sense of fulfillment. My reputation as an honest vendor grew, and with it came loyalty and respect from the villagers. To a path of honesty that I have embraced. My story is not just one of missed revenue, but of redemption through truth, illustrating that a heart redirected can heal the distrust it once sowed across a village.
In the heart of Willow Woods, where the trees whispered secrets to the wind, a squirrel named Nutty found something peculiar. He had been busy collecting acorns for winter when he stumbled upon a glowing acorn, nestled in a bed of soft moss. Nutty's whiskers twitched with curiosity. Was this a magical acorn? He decided to give it a gentle nudge, and to his surprise, it spoke. Make a wish, it hummed softly. Nutty's mind raced with excitement. A wish? What would he ask for? He thought for a moment, and wished for the tallest tree in the forest to have the juiciest acorns. Poof! In a flash, the tree grew and grew, but instead of acorns, it sprouted fluffy marshmallows. This time, Nutty wished for a river of acorns. Imagining them floating like a bountiful stream, the acorn glowed brighter, and suddenly, a river appeared. But it was made of acorn-shaped boats, each with a tiny sail. The boats bobbed along merrily, and Nutty couldn't help but laugh. He hopped from boat to boat, the ride, but knew he needed to be more specific with his wishes. For his final wish, Nutty asked for all the acorns he could ever need, but with no surprises. The acorn shimmered, and a gentle shower of acorns fell from the sky, piling up around him. Nutty sighed with relief and grinned from ear to ear. He thanked the magical acorn and tucked it safely in his nest, promising to use it wisely. As the stars began to twinkle, Nutty curled up, dreaming of the adventures yet to come, knowing that sometimes the quirkiest twists lead to the most wonderful stories.
Infidelity unraveled their love. Tristan Thompson's infidelity saga with Khloe Kardashian has been nothing short of tumultuous. It all began when photos surfaced of Thompson allegedly cheating on Kardashian while she was pregnant. Despite the scandalous revelation, the couple attempted to reconcile, but peace was short-lived. The drama escalated when Thompson was involved in another cheating scandal, this time linked to Jordan Woods, a close friend of Kylie Jenner. This betrayal added fuel to the fire, causing a significant rift in their relationship. Thompson's repeated acts of infidelity didn't just stop there. The couple faced another storm when a paternity scandal emerged, involving yet another woman, which further strained their already fragile relationship. Each scandal seemed to chip away at the foundation of their union, leading to multiple breakups over time. Each as they tried to move past the betrayals, Thompson's actions continued to be a central factor to a tumultuous relationship. Despite numerous attempts at reconciliation, the persistent shadow of infidelity was a hurdle too high to overcome. Ultimately, Thompson's continued infidelity remained the defining issue, marking the end of their high-profile relationship.
Meet Emma. She thought her marriage to Jack was rock solid. They had been together for years, sharing countless memories and building a life together. Emma trusted Jack completely, believing that their bond was unbreakable. Until one day she saw something suspicious. Jack and his secretary Lisa were getting too cozy at the office party. Emma couldn't believe her eyes. She had always thought Jack was a loyal husband, but the way he interacted with Lisa raised red flags. So Jack tried to explain. "Oh, sweetheart, she just tripped. I was helping her up." Yeah, right. Emma wasn't convinced. She had seen enough to know that something was off. Emma wasn't buying it. She hired a private detective. Enter Detective James. This guy's got skills, and he was on the case faster than you can say busted. Detective James was thorough and left no stone unturned. A few days later, Detective James had the scoop. Secret meetings at lunch, mysterious phone calls, and that tripping incident? Yeah, it turns out it was a cover-up for a romantic rendezvous. Emma confronted Jack once more. So, I guess you were meeting Lisa every day at lunch too? Caught off guard, Jack stammered, we were, discussing work stuff? Nice try, buddy. Emma had heard enough. Armed with the truth, Emma didn't need any more excuses. She knew it was time to make a change. She packed her bags and left, ready to start a new chapter in her life. Oh, drama fans ever dealt with a partner's ridiculous excuses? Share your story in the comments.